Welcome to another really exciting episode of Gem Collectors with Shawn. I'm Shawn, 62 years old, been in this since 11 years old, and I am still, every day, I get to touch, play, cut, mess with my gems and minerals. I am doing my hobby. I am loving it. And this show, out of having created and sold 2 jewelry stores in my lifetime and had a live show here, out of everything, this show has been my favorite because it really gets to be fully created as I want it, which is rocks and minerals, throw some gems and minerals in there, some jewelry as well. We mix in a little bit of antiques, get to do a little bit of everything from the ground up. So love it. All right, we have several interesting things I'm going to get to show you. I'm going to get to show you the actual pictures of the answer to one of the trivia questions, and you're going to like to see that. Plus, just out of curiosity, for those of you that don't get all the gem and mineral information that I am going to show you a picture of the recently mined 108 karat pink diamond from Lesotho. A lot of people don't know Lesotho is a small country within the country of South Africa. And it has more diamond mines, operating diamond mines, in this small area than all of South Africa. So, yeah, a lot of fun to see when something new like that, so rare, comes out of the ground and get to see what it looks like. So cool that a couple of you actually commented about liking the piece of rough of that beautiful, incredible lion of Miralani garnet that was donated to the new wing of the Smithsonian institution. And I really have to agree with you. It's so difficult to cut a piece of rough. Luckily, the rough isn't fully crystallized. If it was like in a dodecahedron form or something, it'd be like almost a crime to cut it. But you're going to get to see the rough. You're going to get to see the cut stone. Both are beautiful, and amazing job on the cutting. So we'll talk about that in a few moments. All right, first we have Sue in Texas. She says, "Note, hope you are feeling better by now, Shawn." Well, I have a little more kick to my step than last week, but I was all congested and had to actually stop, make a special stop to get some Vicks. I just put some of that Vicks in my menthol, in my nose, whatever, so I can breathe, so I don't have to sound like, I'm fully congested. Took a couple stops on the way in the rain to do it, but it was worth it. It seems to be working. Thank you to Raven and staff for fixing the item number for the beautiful piece of Blue Forest, Wyoming petrified wood from a few weeks ago so I could purchase it. After having some severe thunderstorms, weather calmed and it is a beautiful day. I hope all in our rock group are experiencing sunny skies and pleasant temperatures as well. Miss Sue in Texas, regarding the item number and you getting the piece that you were hoping for and did, wow, a lot of you are thankful, and I need to really probably pass these comments on to the sales reps and to the lead in charge of them, because they really did their job, it sounds like, and that's great to hear. Let's go to, and I checked into this next one because we have a wonderful comment and correct answers from, make sure I try to pronounce this right, Vanya in the Netherlands. Yes, the Netherlands. So let's read what she says. Sorry if you only send them to the USA. I was not sure and wanted to enter to find out. So she entered answers to the trivia questions from the Netherlands to see if she won, if we shipped. So I particularly emailed this morning. Of course, it's upstairs, so I could have walked, but easier to email, and got an answer from several layers of management to find out. And unfortunately, no, they're not set up to ship overseas. They can ship to Canada, but limited in overseas shipping. But it doesn't mean you don't have to, play. You can still play, and you can still be part of the community. So welcome. And I think it's really neat to have someone from the Netherlands partaking in this show. So let's get to the questions and the answers. So I didn't pull out the question page. I usually have it so that I can read the questions exactly as I wrote them, because sometimes it matters. So question number 1 to the trivia. What element causes fluorescence in calcite to be stronger? Pretty simple. And the answer actually lies in the name of calcite that has that property, and it's called manganese calcite. And it's not just a small trace of manganese. It's enough that instead of just calcite being a chemical formula of CaCO3, calcium carbonate, it's actually MnCaCO3. So it's a molecule with a manganese atom attached to it instead of just being trace. So manganese is the correct answer. The second question was, what is the name of the largest tsavorite ever cut and then donated to the Smithsonian? Could have been worded many different ways, but the answer is the Lion of Miralani. And I'm going to actually show you the rough and the cut to that during the beginning of this show. So look forward to that. All right, so those were the questions. Let's get to the answers. So Miss Vanya says in the Netherlands, I like to say that, says manganese can make calcite fluoresce more brightly. Got that one right. The second one, the biggest tsavorite garnet donated to the Smithsonian Institute was the Lion of Miralani, I think she puts, which weighed more than 282 carats when rough, correct, and 116.76 carats when cut, from what the sources I found told me. And you would be correct about that. Anyway, thanks for holding the contest. I might not be able to buy things yet, financial reasons. Purchasing is not anything or a part of this show. It's nice when that happens, but the show was actually originally set up to be more of a show and tell than a show and sell. Even though selling is an important part overall, it's not like, as you'll see, other live shows where, there's a certain pace you have to keep up. I can stop and I can ramble on over my 51 years of, some of the stories, real, true life stories from venturing into so many different mine shafts. And not only that, but other, I told the one last week of how, we were approached from behind. My friend and I went metal detecting straight off onto private property and had a 12-gauge double-barrel shotgun leveled at us. So yeah, there was a lot of excitement to doing 51 years and getting into the mining and prospecting end of it. And I'm sure a lot of you would like to hear some stories. When I hear them back myself, sometimes I think, wow, I really did that? Okay, so Miss Vanya goes on to say, I might not be able to buy things for financial reasons, but I still very much enjoy watching the show and love sharing the awesome minerals and gems you show with some of my friends who also like them. So asking for my best friend, what is the most unique piece of opal you have had and how did you get it? Wow, you know what? Out of everybody, and out of 6 years we've been doing this, I have never really gotten a personal question like that. And how perfect, because I have, and instantly 2 opals came to mind. Now, for those of you, I'll refresh your memory. Opal, I took special cutting lessons. I took first cabochoning lessons for like agates and jaspers and those kind of things at the age of 11. And by the time I was 12, I was into, I took specialized lessons in orienting and cutting phenomenon stones, optical phenomenon stones. In other words, cat's eye, stars, those type of stones. Then I took another set of lessons by a masterful opal cutter, just a genius. specifically in cutting opal. And I did that by later into my 12th year and maybe approaching 13, because I remember to get out of parochial school, which was 8th grade, I was 13 and I did my term paper on opal. Opal happened to be my mom's birthstone. I hadn't had obviously a son yet, but my son later on was born in October as well, which opal is the birthstone for that month. So opal was a special stone to me before it became even more special to me. And I guess one of the reasons why the first thing that ever comes to mind is there are no two opals that ever look alike. Believe me, I did so much opal replacing over the years. I have a large still collection of opals, cut opals, calibrated, that I have to match missing opals, because remember, opals look great in a ring, but they break. They can break, they can wear, and you have to be conscious in wearing them. So there is a servicing factor over a number of years to opal as far as the potential to having to replace them. So in my jewelry stores, that was always the issue. So I had a large collection, still have a collection of them, and I'm weaning some of them down. You have to have so many opals to try to match one that's missing. And that's what made me realize just how special each individual opal is. That play of color is, there's 2 diamonds that can look alike, 2 sapphires, 2 rubies, 2 emeralds. But 2 opals, they can look kind of similar, but they will never look exactly alike. And that's what made it special. So there's 2 opals. The first opal that instantly came to mind, I remember, I think I was turning 13. And my mom, who was, I'm one of 6 children, was very active in encouraging my hobby. And so I remember that very much when I opened up the gift, how amazed I was, how thrilled I was, and that my mom was the one. So I worked at a rock shop, and my mom went to that rock shop, and she picked out that opal piece of rough for me to cut. It was after I had, quote, graduated from opal cutting classes, and she wanted me to have something better and nicer. I remember exactly. The opal was 25 carats. I remember the color pattern in it. I remember the banding. I remember the layers of color. And, of course, for me, it was like a crown jewel. And I studied it and a long time before I, first started cutting on it. And I think it was because, my mom had to learn a little bit about opal, picked it out herself to give to me. It wasn't like giving me money for me to pick it out. She picked it out. And for that reason, my mom died at a young age, about 30 years ago. She actually died at the age I am now. And my dad just passed away at 91 this past summer, so I feel like an orphan. But he played a big role also at a young age in my hobby, in taking me 17 miles one way to St. Armand's Circle in Sarasota, Florida, to take the cutting lessons in the back of a high-end jewelry store there. That there was a hippie, imagine that, in 1973. That was the masterful opal cutter and person that I took the lessons from, and think the world of him to this day for how he advanced my entire hobby at the time. So that opal, for sentimental reasons, but the other opal that comes to mind is when I was in Lightning Ridge, and I was in Australia for a few weeks, never left New South Wales, which is one of their large territories and where Sydney is. Okay, but Lightning Ridge is like 500 miles away from Sydney, but still in the same, what they call territory. And when I was in Lightning Ridge, we already knew a lot of different dealers, so we were set up to meet people. We went to barbecues. We were, treated really quite special. It was me and my business partner. And so I was offered I want to say a bucket, because it seemed to me like a bucket full of opal. And these were large pieces. It was mostly that purple blue fire material, and some of it was just potch. But the potch is opal, common opal without a play of color. This piece of potch was opaque black. I mean, it was almost as dark base you can get for black opal, but had no play of color. And it was probably about this large or so, the entire piece. It had white clay on the outside, as much of the opal does. And it hadn't been ground into, which what you look for, because the opal miners, they can look at an opal and they know what it's going to cut, often without ever having to do what's called a rub. In other words, they cut it into it enough, it's called a rub, to be able to see if there's anything more that they're missing. So if you see opals that have a rub on them, it means the opal cutter has already assessed it to a level of value and, you know, deciding to sell it on. In buying that bucket of pieces of opal with that one piece in there of the dark potch, as I have instructed before, I've often used that black potch as the backing for a doublet. A doublet is a two-part opal. You have a thin layer of opal with usually a dark background, or they often use the ironstone, Queensland boulder opal material for the background. It just makes it look totally more natural. So I thought, okay, this will be great. I can use this dark potch for the background for doublets. It was a couple years after I had been to Lightning Ridge and had that bucket before I finally decided to cut into that piece of potch. I cut in to that piece of opal, and I still have the other half. And I made the saw cut magically so, perfectly so, right to the correct side, just enough of the center of the opal that held an amazing black crystal center. Crystal opal. Now, crystal opal is opal, black crystal opal is opal that is transparent, more transparent than translucent, with a dark saturation to the color tone that allows light to pass through it. Then, hence, that's how you can call it crystal opal. And that crystal opal was alive with greens, blues, and purple fire. I cut about a 5-carat stone out of it. It was a freeform shape with a high dome. Sold it at a wholesale for well over, I think, $1,200, and regret it to this day, having sold it for that. And so the other part of it, I still doesn't have any fire. If I would have cut it down through the middle of that amazing, almost jelly-like center, I would have had 2 smaller pieces. I got lucky where I placed the saw cut. That's all there is to it. There was no waste. I cut that centerpiece out of there, held on to it for years, didn't even want to sell it. It was like a bragging piece. It's like, look what I found. I got one over on the Australian miners, because that's what it felt like. They know their opal so well that they looked at the piece and assessed it as having no value and just being a piece of potch. But that's also the surprise to opal. You never know what's in the middle. Isn't there a candy like that? You know? And for that reason, and it wasn't so much of a monetary reason in the end, it was more of, I guess, being the one to find the prize in the bottom of a Cracker Jack box that everybody else had already gone through. Don't know how else to describe it. And for Vanya, if you don't have Cracker Jacks over there, you don't know what I'm talking about. But that made that opal one of the two. Those are the two that really stick out in my mind. One, for sentimental reasons. The other, partly for financial reasons and partly for, I guess, getting one over on the Australian miners. I mean, they're so clever and so smart. I went down in mines there. They let me run the machine that eats into the wall and the vacuum sucks everything up to the surface. It's an amazing operation how it's done. And that was 90 feet underground when I got to do that. So that was a great question. It was one of my favorite stones, and that's what I want to see in these comments, and that's how everyone else can also learn from it and, you know, find out a little bit about what makes me tick and what really, how I find and what I find valuable in a piece. And it's not always the financial end to it, you know. Value can be an emotional value, and that was the one that my mom got me. I still have that opal, by the way, that I cut from that. Of course. Wouldn't sell it for anything. All right, so great question. She closes with, hope I did this right to enter. Thanks, and looking forward to the next show. And Miss Vanya, I certainly wish that you could participate in the trivia. But again, like I said, I already checked because I wanted it to be true. But no, they don't ship over there. But that doesn't mean you can't participate and still find out that your answers are right or wrong. Miss Barbara in Brooklyn. Hi, Professor Raven, GSN crew, and the whole Rock family. Nice Tuesday show. I appreciated the prompt message about the delay in the community tab. Sorry about your cold. They come as quite a surprise after several years of protection from hand washing and mask wearing for COVID. Yep, that's really true. They said that the number of cold instances and flu dropped way down during that time because everybody was washing their hands and, you know, doing the 6 feet thing, and also and now that no one does that, everybody gets getting sick. Kudos to Daryl for calling me back when I couldn't order my item 2 weeks ago. And I do. I have to pass the messages on to the sales reps for how wonderful so many of you said that they were in following up after that snafu where everything didn't load from the show. And so many of you tried to get the items, and we got everything back up. And so let's continue on. I had called 3 times. There was an oops in the system that I requested they fix. He did just that and then got back to me to see if I still wanted the faceted coast androdite in the sweet silver box. You were living right that day, Miss Barbara, because that was a really special find all the way around. She says, and I'll have to say the nice, polite way, heck yeah. Now I have the mate to the one I got several years ago, and they are like twins. See? Everything ends up with the person that they are supposed to be with. There's a magic to the show, and for her to wind up, and you know, those are garnets, the faceted ones from Coast, the iridescent androdite garnets are the ones I said I wasn't going to sell any more of, but I decided to one because I had such a cool silver box I was going to offer that something really cool needed to be sold in it, and hence the garnet. The Lion of Mirilani donation is one of the last things Jeff Post will oversee before his upcoming retirement from the Smithsonian. And that, of course, is that amazing garnet. We're going to show you pictures here shortly about that, with that. And, you know, regarding Jeff Post leaving, you know, I remember growing up that it was Paul Desautels was the curator of the Gem and Mineral Wing of the Smithsonian at the time, as when I was a young teenager. And I remember that my goal was to be him. I wanted that job. And of course, life didn't take me in that direction, but I always remember what a great job that would be. As to trivia, manganese is responsible for the pink calcite that is so fluorescent, and the Lion of Mirilani is the largest faceted tsavorite ever, just donated to the Smithsonian Institution. Still can't use the kitchen table for food covered in Shawn stones. Thanks for the tip about polishing the pyrite when needed. Toothpaste would work too. Well, yes, I say toothpaste can work, but it often, though, can get in places that are difficult to clean. So in general, stay away from toothpaste unless, of course, I know and am very familiar with your pyrite cube that comes out of its little nesting area. Amazing piece. And glad to know that who wound up with that. So that piece doesn't really have anything. So yeah, actually toothpaste would work with that particular cube because it doesn't have really any hidden crevices. But again, a polishing cloth works really well, and you don't risk that. And the polishing cloths also, the polish that they put in the cloth is water soluble, so it's very easy to clean up. Electric toothbrushes work wonderful for doing any cleanup work, even just with soap and water on something like that. So keep that in mind as well. After hearing Harry's story of the flying peridot ring, I wanted to share a term a mineral friend used: carpet mining. Haven't heard that one. Going over a fuzzy rug with the vacuum nozzle covered in pantyhose to find all the stones that flew across the room and seemingly disappeared. Caution, don't forget the pantyhose part or your treasures will be recovered, but covered in Wilburs, which she puts in parentheses, small nicks named after super collector Dave Wilbur, who is notoriously picky about damages on crystal faces. Be well all, Barbara from Brooklyn. You know, there is collectors that are that particular. Usually they're the ones that have the money to be that particular. And, you know, it's great to be able to have a crystal with no nicks or anything on it, but it really limits your choices and greatly increases the cost of a specimen. So it's like having a D flawless diamond when you can't tell the difference between a D flawless or a F VVS2 upon a visual looking at them. Why pay all the extra premium for something that you have to tell somebody what it is? You have to tell somebody, oh, I got a D color VVS, or I got a D color flawless. People can't do that. Well, maybe some can be brash enough, but usually not. So in all the stones and all the people over all the years that I've sold to and been part of their weddings through the engagement ring, you know, that was always my advice I would give them. You know, I said, buy color, give up clarity. People can't see small inclusions unless they walk around with a 10 power loop grabbing your hand and pulling it up to their eye, which of course you don't do. But the human eye can see differences in color to a certain extent, much more so than any inclusions or flaws. So in working with them with their budget, I always would recommend buy color, give up clarity, and you find a happy medium that way. Miss Barbara has got something very correct about using that pantyhose. So many times I've actually had to use a vacuum to try to find items that were lost. And I think I told you over the years, you know, a couple stories about those, the most unusual places stones were lost and then later found. One was in the tread of a sneaker, a 1/4 carat diamond lodged in there. Another ended up to be in a person's pocket, right down in the corner. It actually stayed there, even through a washing, months. And later, you know, he just happened to be feeling in his pocket. The diamond had flipped, and in the direction he thought it went is where he looked. But he never went and looked, and most people wouldn't look back on your personal things, but funny things can happen. And problem is, you don't usually find it until much later, after the problem has occurred and you had to solve the problem another way since you didn't have the stone that you were originally looking for. Later, when you find the stone, it's often a nice surprise, but sometimes a little too late kind of thing, you know. Miss Cindy says, hello, Rock family. Hope you're feeling better by now, Shawn. Trying to. We'll see how long this energy lasts. Barbara from Brooklyn, talking about going back to old shows to review items and realizing the value and uniqueness of specimens reminds me. I received a large 10-inch by 6-inch guesstimate Florida agatized coral from you as a trivia prize some time ago. I have since seen specimens at shows 1/10 of the size for a lot of money. I would imagine the price of the one you sent me to be in the hundreds minimum. I love it and have it in my office. Cindy, I appreciate that because I think a lot of people don't always realize that, you know, in the trivia gifts, it's not something Well, I'm just going to tell a little story on GSN from a number of years ago. They used to start every show, and I'm talking about over a decade ago, 15 years ago. They used to start every show and give away a stone. It would be like a 10-point amethyst or citrine, something like that. And, you know, that's okay. Free is free. You call in, you get something for nothing. That's wonderful. But this trivia, I wanted to be on a different level. So when you tell me what the agatized coral was actually worth in the open market, I have no doubt that it would be and could be in the hundreds of dollars. I just happened to buy some of those items. I told you I knew the guy personally. He since has passed away. He had one of the early grandfathered in claims on the Withlacoochee River, and he did all his own work. He saw the material, he flat lapped it and polished it, and was an amazing man, John. And I bought right, and I bought a lot. We had a great relationship. I would never be able to replace those kind of items like that today in this market. I am wearing the Madagascar Iolite heart-shaped stone shamrock pendant every day. If I had the money, I would be draped in jewelry from your show. Any gold earrings in your stash? I will look. Trivia, manganese, line of Miralani. Till next week, miss you all. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Fave of the week, the lapis pendant. Oh, that was a great one. Hope it sold. Cindy again says, forgot. That line of Miralani is gorgeous with lots of exclamation points. Downloaded the picture of the rough for wallpaper on my PC. I like the rough better than the gem. I probably have to agree with you. We're going to look at those in a moment, actually. Then, Mr. Anthony, I got a picture, and I love it. Some of you others still owe me pictures as well. Anthony, you have the look, my man. And I showed it to the Raven as well. And that's one of the looks that she really likes. So Mr. Anthony doesn't quite have the hair I have. As a matter of fact, he doesn't have any, but that's in and cool as I understand it. And he's got a beard almost identical to mine, except not so much gray as mine. I don't think Anthony is as old as I am. He looks younger than I am. So I'm 62, and we'll hear back about Mr. Anthony's age. But you, Mr. Anthony, and I have met and seen a lot of rock hounds, mineral collectors, lapidaries, everybody. You have the look. That's the look. You have the look. You could be a prospector, a rock hound, a lapidary, and a hippie that lost his hair. Yep. So now I can put a face and picture with the name. After 6 years, I should get to, not 6 years. Some of you have been with me since the beginning, 15 years. So thank you for the picture. He goes on to say, hello all, hope you are over the springtime cold. Working on it. I sent you something that may shock you out of whatever ails you. Can't wait for it. I will, big believer in holistic healing. I call the Raven my, well, she's got a cabinet with her witch's brews in it, and she's got all of her teas and all that kind of stuff. And hey, I'm a big believer in it, in that stuff, because there's science behind some of those herbs and things like that, and you look it up, and the Chinese, 1,000 years ago were using this stuff. How did they figure it out back then? That certain different herbs have all these healing properties. That's the ones that were picking the mushrooms that I worry about, You try one, you're dead. You try one, it tastes great, and you're all right. Finding that out, that would have been the hard part. Last week, with the numbers mixed up, I didn't think I would get the items I wanted, but the sales reps were on the ball and gave me a call, so I was able to get one of the items, the Wyoming petrified wood. They are truly dedicated and very good at what they do. I've gotten to know a few of the sales reps. Some are rock hounds as well. Yes, they are. And like one of the supervisors, Tim, if you ever talk to him or work with him, he is been here a long time, great guy, rock hound. So yeah. Trivia. Bruce Bridges donated the Lion of Miralani Sabarite Garnet to the Smithsonian. And number 2, manganese gives manganese and calcite, strong fluorescence. Mr. Anthony's always closes with eyes down. And that started out from early on in the show when I talked about, when I walk on the ground, I'm not looking up at the beautiful sky and the birds. No, rocks aren't up there. Rocks are down on the ground, eyes down. That's where the stuff is at. And believe me, I have found stuff by just looking at the ground. If you know what you're looking for, you can find it. And that's how we found a neat garnet mica schist deposit in our backyard. Raven claimed it as her claim, so I had to go find my own other one, which I did because I had the tractor. I dug up the side of the hill and hit a nice deposit, a nice outcropping of, well, you've seen it. I've given some of those specimens away. Yeah, the garnets aren't facet great or anything, but they're obviously dodecahedrons in mica schist. Still makes a great, neat, free item, and personally mined on my own property. I think that has to add a nickel or so to it. Miss Gabby. We haven't heard from Miss Gabby in a bit. I've been wondering about you. Greetings and salutations, everyone, from Helen, Georgia, one of your old stomping grounds, Shawn. Yes, very much so. My son's mom, who I still love her dearly, I don't know, we've been divorced 30-something years. She retired from teaching special ed her entire life. She was a teacher at the high school in White County, where Helen, Georgia is. But now she's actually a manager at Betty's Country Store. So, Miss Gabby, you can go in there anytime. And, if you don't hear her already, because her name's Lori, you can ask for Lori and give her a shout out from me. And she is one of the nicest, most personal people you'll ever meet. And it's worth meeting her. So she is there. She's already retired, but I think she works there more than the owner does, which is one of her best friends. She has to always do something and keep busy. So, yeah, you can find her at Betty's Country Store, which, if you've ever been to Helen, Georgia, is the place everyone has to go. That's really the only grocery store for one thing, and the other thing, it's got a lot of neat country items, a great bakery. My sister used to work at the bakery. My son grew up, his teenage job was working there as well. So it's like, well integrated, Betty's and, yeah, that side of the family. So good to hear that you're up there. Haven't said hello for a minute, but I've been watching and enjoying all the shows. I love that after all these years, I continue to learn, and not just from you, Shawn, but from the entire rock family. That's a great compliment coming from you, Miss Gabby. My trivia answers are manganese and the Lion of Miralani. I shared with Miss Barbara and a couple of other friends last week after this story came out that I was very blessed to have been able to see the crystal the lion was cut from in person in Tucson a few years ago. Wow. That's something. It was the most beautiful, pristine green thing I've ever seen. I told Mr. Bruce that if that was mine, even knowing the magnificent gem it would produce, I would never be able to cut it. But the Smithsonian and everyone else involved obviously disagreed. Imagine that, disagreeing with you, Miss Gabby. LOL. What a spectacular gem. The kind that gives me goosebumps. Withdrawing from the contest, sending love and light to everyone as always, Miss Gabby. So, of course, you got the answers right. And, wow, getting to meet Bruce Bridges, whose father was Campbell Bridges, the original discoverer in 1967 of Savarite in Tanzania, and then not far away in Kenya a few years after that. He was later, unfortunately, killed by some local minor tribal people in a dispute, and that really, we lost a great person in the mineral kingdom for that. But his son has taken over and done a great job. And, there is no other Savarite deposit, basically. There is some Savarites. Actually, there's some in Italy that are really cool. There's some in a few other places. I was thinking of some androdites in Iran, actually. But for any kind of gem quantity, that is the place for them. So the Lion of Miralani, if that sounds familiar, it is because that's the Tanzanite mining district. And if you've gotten in on any of those beautiful grossular or Savarite crystals that I've sold before, several of them actually had tanzanite as part of the crystal as well. Some even had diopside in with those crystals. So that deposit is a very strong deposit, and that can produce a couple of different types of gems. Miss Gabby, great to hear from you, and I appreciate your input, especially since you're very well connected to some of the who's in our mineral world. Miss Elisa in Florida says, hello, Professor Shawn, the lovely Raven, GSN crew, and Rock family. Shawn, I am sorry you've been sick. I hope you continue to feel better. I loved the gem parcels you had this week. Very beautiful. My answers to this week's questions are manganese and Lion of Miralani. Take care and have a good week, everyone. Miss Elisa. Miss Kathleen says, hello, Shawn and fellow Rock family. It's sad to hear that you were not feeling well last week. Yeah, I was feeling actually a lot worse than what I appeared. I just had to push myself through it. Got to pay the bills. I hope you recover quickly from whatever the illness is. Get some much needed rest and relaxation so you feel better. Thank you for the wonderful celestite cluster. I can definitely use some rest and calm in my life right now. Have a great week. I am opting out of the drawing this week, but to answer the questions anyway, manganese and Lion of Miralani. No one has to opt out, but some of the people that win like a week or two prior do, to give other people a chance, and that always increases everyone else's odds. So nice, but not necessary. When she references to use some rest and calm in her life right now, I don't know why you would say that, but I hope and pray that everything calms down in your life. And she said that because one of the metaphysical properties to celestite is a calming and restful effect. For those of you that look into the metaphysical side that is applied to gems and minerals. And that's what one of the uses of celestite is for getting rest and calm in one's life. Yep, and for those of you interested, I finally got the flooring crew out to level part of my floor. They got to come back Saturday. It's a long, slow process. This has been going, we have not had a washer and dryer since the day after Christmas. You just don't even want to know. When I don't have all my equipment set up and ready to go, even if I don't use it for a long time, I feel lost, and that is what's going on right now. I don't have my sluice set up in the basement. I had to move it because the basement flooded, and so, and on and on and on. Yeah. Life doesn't feel in order, so to speak. All right. So, now, we're down to the winner. And this week's winner, which I need to put at the top. I wish, Miss Vanya, that we could have included you. I would have loved to have sent something to you to the Netherlands for a prize. But with you doing the opt-outs, the winner this week, her odds were greatly increased. Miss Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Let's show you what you won. Check them out. Everyone from Latif to Asif to Dave, they're all here, said, what in the world are you doing giving those away? Look at this large yellow sapphire that actually has a facet quality end to it. I'm not really sure why I'm giving these away either. You can always tell Sri Lankan sapphire crystals because they're terminated at both ends. And look at that, you can see that in these. And so you have some white, which is very rare, white sapphire. Remember, pure aluminum Al2O3 is actually quite rare, so a white sapphire is rare. They almost always have some kind of element in them to give them a tint of color. And look at the termination on this piece, large piece. So as a freebie, I think, again, it ranks up there with some of those other freebies and trivia prize gifts as valuable. Now, as I had said, let's take a look at the rough piece of the Lion of Miralani first. This is a stunning, stunning crystal. And Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Oh. Okay, so what it took to cut this, actually the cutter, a very famous cutter, he actually cut it a stone out of, I don't know, they didn't say the material, but I'm just going to assume it was either quartz or a synthetic first, to apply his design to it to make sure that it came out with the brilliance that he was looking for. Now, you can see at the top of that crystal a little bit of rough area. I'm thinking that that is probably where it was attached to the wall or the matrix, wherever it was to grow from. So you had that area that I can see. If this was a well-crystallized dodecahedron or had a really nice crystalline form, it would have greatly increased the cutting desirability or the lack, keeping it uncut. It was a really stunning crystal. So being in the form that it is, it still would make me want to keep it like it is just because of the size. All right, so here's the numbers. It's 283 carats as it is in the rough. Often if you can get a 50% weight return after cutting, then you're doing really well. So that would have put it around 140 carats. This finished out at just underneath 117 carats. So, some weight was lost, but you could see where a cushion, and we're going to show you, let's look at the next picture, because the cushion cut, look at that. Look at that. It doesn't matter what the weight was, what that was lost, because when you end up with a finished stone anything over 100 carats, that is a number to shoot for. And this one, yes, made it over 100 carats. And guess what? What do I always say is my favorite cut? A square cushion cut. A square cushion cut. And that's exactly what this is. And it's my birthstone. And imagine Bruce not considering giving it to me as a gift for my birthday. What a great birthstone item that would make. Look at that, the Lion of Mirilani. And like I said, a double entendre to a couple of meanings to that. I looked in that to see if I could find any inclusions. And if you look straight down in the middle, right at the culate, the very center, just to the right of it, I see a little tiny black speck. Now, those kind of inclusions can and do occur in garnet. So I'm thinking that may be an inclusion. But for a piece of garnet to be that large, still that clean, is absolutely stunning. Let's show you the latest find. And this they just recently found. 108 carat. They have not named this pink diamond yet, but it came from the not sure how it's pronounced, but the Kao mine, the K-A-O mine, in Lesotho, which is a small country surrounded by South Africa. And within that small country, I think the whole thing's a kimberlite pipe, because there's like 5 working diamond mines where there's only one in all of South Africa. A lot of people don't realize that. They still think diamonds are from South Africa. No, diamonds are from Botswana, diamonds are from Congo, diamonds are from other Lesotho. And so this one, an amazing stone it's also, here's what makes it amazing. It's a type 2A. So type 2A diamonds have no nitrogen or boron in them. And so it means it's very chemically pure, very clean. And they look for that as well in determining value. A lot of type 2A diamonds used to only come from the Kohinoor mine in India. And so to have that coming from that mine, a really great recent find. And we'll see in the year to come, or whatever, however long it takes, what it finishes out for a cut stone. But to start off at 108 carats, you could probably expect a 50 carat pink diamond. Imagine that. Okay, let me clean up the sapphires here, and we'll start the show. Well, starting off with the first item of the show like this, it took us a moment with when you got a room full of guys and you decide to show this item. That is good for a couple of yucks any given day. Now, what you're seeing is better than a Snickers bar in the pool. This is the real deal. You're talking about true fossilized turtle dung. And they come in the label box. These are about 2 inches long, from the Pleistocene era, Madagascar, which is 2 to 5 million years old. And look at, okay, you know, I could actually pick this up and put it in my mouth and, you know, not that I would, but it is completely solid rock. It is solid rock. It is truly, truly a coprolite, which is a fossilized, and you know, boy, I tell you what, you could not get me to convince me it is anything else but. I mean, look at that piece. That one looks, I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. That one looks like the turtle ate some corn before it had its moment. These are the last I have of them. You're seeing everything I have. These are approximately 2 inches long, so there's no picking any individual one. It's just luck of whichever one you get. But inventory always picks the best ones first. And I don't know how Christy's going to make that judgment, but I'll give her a little instruction to that. So you're getting to see every single one. You know, these are the last I have, and I'm not going to be restocking this. I remember years ago the CEO, his name was the same name as my son's name. His name was Colin, and he's a great CEO. And when he saw me selling these at Gem Shopping Network, it was during my live show that I had. And, you know, there's millions of dollars worth of jewelry everywhere, and here is Shawn selling his product, and he made a comment about how that might look at Gem Shopping, and he was actually kind of serious. I pulled the product and didn't show it for some time, and later when he realized the whole thing of what my show was about, fossils and everything else, he warmed up to the idea, and then he was really cool with it. But it kind of caught him off guard because that's not something you normally would expect to see being sold at Gem Shopping Network. But this show is the last vestige left of what the founder of our company started with. He started by selling mineral specimens, rocks, gems, that kind of thing. Not so much jewelry. It was more this end of it. And then, you know, over time, it has morphed into what it is now. But this show, Shawn, Gem Collectors Show with Shawn, remember what I said at the beginning of the show? That we get to sell in this little niche a little bit of anything and everything, from amazing deals on a beautiful Lightning Ridge opal ring the other week, you know, to that incredible blue topaz with the double row of diamonds around it. So to that amazing, well, you've seen those pieces of jewelry recently we've had. And then we go to this. All right, so these are the last 8 I have. I can't go any lower than the price that I have, so it's a really good deal for this bigger size. These are some of the best ones left. $15 each. $15 each. These are a wonderful stocking stuffer gift, and you talk about having a lot of fun with your fellow rockhound friends. Give them a gift of a coprolite, which of course is a nice word for what you're looking at. They probably don't have one. They may really question, you know, and drop it at first when you give it to them. You don't tell them what it is. You make sure that they have it in their hand, and then you tell them. And you can get a lot of reactions that way. A lot of fun ones and maybe some surprised ones as well. So anyway, these are the last 8 I have. And I'm talking about I was the king of coprolites at one time. Now, this is the larger size. I think I do have some other small ones if they sell out, but I'm giving you the best ones first, like I said I was going to do. And, you know, if you want to buy more than one, no problem. Or if you want to buy every single one, you can do that as well. If anyone misses out, like I said, I'll bring in some of the, or I have some of the smaller size. They're, you know, not much cheaper, but a little bit smaller. These are some really cool ones. I just think the whole story about it is really cool. How it survived all those years. Yeah. Long enough to turn into a rock. Okay, only $15 each, only 8 left. What an opportunity. Now, let's have, let's go to something a little more rocky. And let's look at item 103. 9321 103 9321, And look at this. Look at this. Now, you remember Barbara just last week talking about her having a piece of fluorite that I had mentioned was always a potential to look at for having an anhydro, in other words, a water bubble in it. And many times, unless you spend a lot of time looking and rocking it back and forth, you won't find them. This is another possible one. Clear fluorite is rare. It's like clear sapphire, like white sapphire is, because fluorite in its natural form, without any other elements to color it, is what you're seeing. Clear, doesn't have color. It's not a purple or anything. That is what you get when you get other impurities, elemental impurities. Let's look at this little window. And that's what you look for as a cutter to assess and evaluate it, just like that big Lion of Miralani piece. That little clear area there, I looked into there. And it allows me, thank you, sir, a big viewing. This is facettable. You, as a cutter, yes, hardest of four stones can be cut. And fluorite is tricky, kind of like rhodochrosite because of the cleavage planes in it. But the crystal isn't so perfect that it would be a terrible thing. Let me take that back. I see some iridescence on the surface here. See, this is why you have to study and look at pieces. More, so I haven't, nope, I don't see it in my, and even in my personal, on the bag, I have other notes that I'll put, and I do not see where I have put iridescent, and that's what that is. That iridescence is desirable. That alone probably right there would make me change my mind on doing anything else with the crystal, but keeping it. That's desirable. You have the full range of iridescent colors, and that's desirable. All right, remember when last week I was also talking about the specimen preparation, and that it is an art in itself. If this, let's say, was a real valuable crystal specimen, you see all this, and I actually referred to the apatite that has the same, this is from the same area, has the, well, we could call it mud, but has this material in between the muscovite mica blades. All this can actually be, I can take my fingernail and start cleaning out. This is what I talk about while you're watching TV, use an Optivisor or something. You can just clean up specimens yourself and learn to do it. Look at that. Look at that six-sided crystal right there. You can see the entire crystal. Wow, that's a beauty. All this would be cleaned out and cleaned up if you were doing a specimen preparation on it of a valuable piece. It's an amazing amount of time that can go into it. This has some really neat, unusual other things I'm looking at here that are catching my attention and would deserve someone else's attention too. It almost looks like some phlogopite mica there. Look at this little crystal cluster of fluorite. I don't know if I've even ever noticed that on here before. Look at that. That's an entire little additional plate. Maybe some iridescence on that as well. Wow, okay. I have offered this piece before, and no one has taken the opportunity. Look at this, look at that little extra crystal right there. Taking the opportunity to get it at the ridiculous price I made it, and that was before I found all these other goody stuff with it. Don't let this stuff scare you. Take your time. Start working on it. Use an electric toothbrush, and you can also start with a brass bristle brush to get down some of the other material faster, and then switch over to something different when you're down to like this kind of level material. But if you want to, again, it's all about putting some effort into a specimen, and time is money. So if someone else does that preparation, you're going to pay for it in the purchase of the piece. This is a wonderful opportunity, and it's priced so ridiculously inexpensive. I'm Tempted actually to make it higher than it was, but I don't roll that way. I'm going to let this go for only $36. $36. It's one of those things, if you went to a show, a mineral show, and tried to find, okay, my goal is to find a clear fluorite specimen of, over an inch in diameter. Good luck. Good luck. And, then add to that, and I don't want to pay over $40 for it, and I would like it to be sitting in some matrix for the aesthetics, which of course is desirable to have a specimen in the matrix, at least on a personal level, and also in an aesthetic valuable level. Often in the matrix adds value to an item. So for $36, wow. You get the addition of the iridescence, which I had not noted before, and I don't really think I ever even noted that other little cluster and the other goodies to be found. And again, can't always see in it, might just take some time. You never know what other inclusion may be hiding in there, including in any water bowl or in hydro, as they have been found in pieces from that area, including in aquamarine specimens as well. Beautiful opportunity for someone. Okay, now let's look at item 1019721. 1019721. This was from an opportunity I had, and I bought the entire collection of them because of how cool and unique they are. Look at this, blue chalcedony, and it is, these are both pieces, and they call them a straw formation, and they also have stilbite. You can see this one has a stilbite crystal on it down here. This one, look at this. Look at that stilbite crystal piercing right through there. That is desirable. When you get that kind of aesthetic look where you have a crystal going and piercing through another one, that is always a wonderful look. So you can see this unique formation, and you can wire wrap something like this. You can, make it into a piece of jewelry. Ah, good, Dave. Thanks for the closer shot there. Look at that. Blue chalcedony is actually very rare and desirable. I had some larger pieces. I think Miss Gabby got one of them, and I have saved one because I think I only bought 3 to start with. They were very large museum level quality. And so without having to pay that kind of money for something big and large, you can have it as well in these smaller ones. I have reduced the price on this particular opportunity to only, well, you know what? I am going to, well, there's really no extra room, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to make both of those a total of only $16. $16 for both pieces. That, again, that item, blue chalcedony with stilbite, try to find it. Go to a show, try to find it. And then say, I don't want to pay over $8 for one of them. Yeah, you would get some strange looks, most of them not very pleasant from the people you would be asking that, because they think, oh, dream on. But you can say, but I saw it on Gem Collectors with Shawn. And they say, yeah, we don't like that guy. He makes all our prices look too high. Look at what Miss Cindy said about the trivia gift. I gave her a 10 by 6 inch piece of agatized coral, free. And she said she has seen pieces a tenth the size for hundreds of dollars. What can I say? Maybe that's why I'm not a good businessman and I don't make any money. But I don't know. I never saw it about money for a long time until I had to look at it from a money standpoint. you know, with my jewelry stores and the markups and all that. It's like, no, you know, but I paid, you know, $100 for it. I'll take 110. It doesn't work that way. But in this show, you're talking about a lifetime's worth of personal collections and stuff. Many things I have no idea what I paid, and it's just whatever I feel like at the moment, which is usually way undervalued. All right, the next item is going to be one of those undervalued pricing deals. How about 109 1122? 109 1122. And so, okay, if you don't have the fancy papers like I have, you know, what they call the diamond papers, this is a true white, okay, as far as color, for color comparison. And I showed you this before in diamonds. There's so many whites that people don't really realize that something they may have and think is white is not. All right, that looks white, right? That tray? Well, that looks white until you put a true white next to it. Look at the difference in the color. This tray, that looks white, doesn't it? It does to me, until you put something really white against it. And then what you find, you actually have something that is a bluish. This actually has a bluish tint to it, and you can see that when you have a true white against it. It's minor, but when you're talking about color and gemstones, minor is how they are graded. From D to Z, each level of diamond color gradient is very minuscule, but it is there. All right, so I'll use this tray and this. So anyway, I make my own, this little simple little piece of folded paper, just so that it's, so they don't hit each other in a plastic bag, okay? So if you have a plastic bag like that and you have your stones in there, they can hit each other. Oh, if you are seeing that and wondering what it is, you know what it is. It's a Sakot Alin, or Alin, however you pronounce it, Siberian meteorite in a silver ring. Used to sell them. Look at this. I don't know, maybe I'll sell them again. Here is outstanding natural color amethyst that are cut really nicely, really nicely. And they came out of a bracelet that none of you bought, and it was a plain bracelet, so you didn't miss out on too much, but you still had the opportunity. I showed it, and then, you know, as I said, I was going to break them down for the gold being at the price that it is. It was a good time to do it. So what you get are well matched 7x5mm calibrated stones. Look at how beautiful they are. 8.20 carat. These have, you can see the beautiful blue colors reflecting out of them, with red flashes in some of them as well, in a lot of them actually. A really nice selection. Excuse me. And this is where I kind of get ridiculous, because I have these for you at only the entire parcel for $24. $24. So let's see, 8 carats, $24, $3 a carat. Less than $3 a carat. And what an opportunity. All right, let me put those up and I'll be right back. Okay, you know, this is one of those opportunities that I will regret later, but someone should take opportunity now on this deal. This is Burmese spinel, a incredibly beautiful faceted one. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, this kind of material, and you can see it's native cut. Native cut means it's not cut perfectly symmetrical. So it was probably cut locally, cut in Burma, not shipped off to a cutting center to have a perfect cut. But look at that color. Look at that color. Look at that brilliance. It was still cut very well to bring out that brilliance. You have the depth enhancing the color. Then look at the rough. Okay, so when you see a piece of rough like this, and then you see it kind of rounded, the corners, it is alluvial. In other words, this crystal weathered out of a deposit, wound up in a stream, got tumbled down that stream, and even with the hardness that spinel is of around 8, that's still going to show wear. It's going to take a lot more time to do it than, say, a quartz crystal or something else, but you're still going to get those edges, those corners that are rounded, giving away the fact that it's an alluvial crystal. You can see that wonderful natural shape to the same crystal system that diamond belongs to, the cubic system, which gives you a bipyramidal or dipyramidal form, meaning 2 pyramids base to base kind of look. You can see that a portion of the backside is kind of interesting, almost it looks like it was cleaved off, has kind of split off from the stone. So that's pretty cool. That is a great piece. There is a facettable stone in there, might have an inclusion, but it's really more beautiful to leave it like it is. This stone is the real beauty. It has one small inclusion on the backside, not visible from above, but look at that brilliance. Look at that brilliance. Okay, so what we have here, let me see if I have all the info. 77 point and then a carat 27. So the faceted stone is 77 points, and the rough crystal is a carat 27. Or do I have that carat 27 total weight? No, that has to be a carat 27. Anyway, doesn't matter. Because I probably, it couldn't be, so it's got to be a carat 27. I don't know. This Burmese stone alone, $300 a carat would easily be in the realm of reality. And I'm talking about more of a even wholesale price. Spinel has really gone up, especially Burmese spinel. There's a distinct difference in color between Burmese spinel and the Tanzanian spinel. That would be the only competitor for kind of color. And there is a distinct difference. If you see enough of them, you can get hot pinks from Tanzania, but there's something about the reds of the Burmese material that is really sets it apart. So I'm buying time as I try to think exactly how I want to price this, because, you know, once gone, it's gone, and both these stones, this is a great chance. How about this? Let's do this. 77 pointer in the one. I'll just base it on the one. I'm going to throw in the piece of rough for free. Make it $77 for both pieces. $77 for the two of them. And wow, the value in this one alone is well beyond that. What a gem. What a gem that is. And if nothing else, I actually just had them in my collection in a tube, and you can see the two little indentations right there, because it's a great kind of before and after type of presentation you can have with them. So just the way I view things, and why my collection was so large, because I often wanted items that, you know, when I wanted to create something like this, this would make a beautiful, beautiful gem just using that piece of rough like it is. Or I could create a bypass look with that on one portion of the ring and the cut stone on the other. So many different opportunities if you have the pieces to work with. And then you can let your mind go crazy, and you have the items to match what your mind wants to create. Let's look at item 108-2922. 108-2922. And here is something else that is the last ofs, so to speak. I had many years ago was able to get a hold of quite a bit of rough. And it was old rough from an old estate, actually from someone out of Helen, Georgia. It's actually where my big safe ended up coming from a business that still operates up there. It was from a person that was in the gem business, and I knew his daughter really well, and they were well connected to Helen, and he passed away, and I was selling gold nuggets upwards of 7 ounces that they had, that the estate had. She wouldn't let me sell the 7-ounce one, but I sold some that were 3 ounces each, 4 ounces each, right here at Gem Shopping years ago. And I knew it was such a rare, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. These nuggets were mine decades ago in Alaska. And so anyway, it was all part of this one estate. Those weren't, but these were. And what it was a large parcel of, look at these beauties, and we'll pull up what they are. Look at facet grade, Tanzanian hessonite, tumbled by me. So I know them up close and personal. I said, what am I going to do with all these? Well, I actually set a lot of them off and had them cut. And then I took another batch of them and tumbled them because I wanted to show off just the level of facet grade quality in the hessonites. And remember, hessonite belongs to the grossular family of garnets. And the grossular family is the same family that big Savarite, the Lion of Miralani, was cut. So Savarite belongs to the grossular family, as does hessonite. Look at that. So if any of you cutters out there wanted to cut a wonderful hessonite garnet yourself, you have a nice blend of colors here to do so. And having tumbled them versus the rough. Now the rough in these was not a, excuse me for one moment, was not a crystalline shape. They were just more rough, so there wasn't a desire to keep them in the form that they were for that purpose. Tumbling them allowed me to be able to see into them for cutting. Now, the ones, the batch that I sent off, I didn't send them the tumbled because it actually takes and removes weight. And I wanted the cutters to have all the weight possible. Once they cut a little window in it, they know what direction to go. And so they didn't need a tumbled version of it. And it was a way to improve the weight retention on the finish end. This way, any of you could use them just as they are in so many different applications. And with some of the last that I have them, I'm just going to discount these. And you know what? I'm going to make them at the price of what maybe quartz should be, or even less than that. We have 11 stones, 20 carats. Let's make it $20. How about that? $1 a carat, $20. If some of you liked the gem parcels last week, well, you should like a few of them this week. That's a beauty right there. Now, let's look at item 1107523. 1107523. And this item is, well, what is left from me taking out the center stone. You have clear white sapphires. So we showed you those crystals of white sapphires. White sapphires, of course, was one of the very first diamond imitations that was used in jewelry. Later, they reduced it to using white topaz, but white sapphires was the premier item to use because of the hardness and the dispersion, the brilliance. White zircons looked really good too, but they also tend to have a brittleness or a wear factor to it where sapphire doesn't. So you have white sapphires around here. This is sterling silver. It fits a 14 by 12 millimeter, either cushion cut or just rectangular stone. You can see it's already pre-notched. It would, look at that. Look how pretty this mounting is. wow, look at the additional sapphires on the side like that. Very cool. Look at the under gallery. It's really nicely made. And so it's a beautiful semi-mount. So instead of scrapping it for the little bit of silver or the sapphires in it, which is always a choice, I'm offering it as a semi-mount and at a price that, again, let me see if I have offered this ever before. Okay, so at a price that is so reasonable, let's make it $38. Only $38 on that. So I know Latif is saying, what, $38? I know. To buy the white sapphires, I had to actually go to a wholesale company one time to buy white sapphires, and they were $300 a carat, and they were around 8-point size. So I couldn't believe it. I said, I can buy diamonds for this. And so it was just, there were nice white sapphires, but still, they were white sapphires. Like what's in this ring. So if I figured at $300 a carat, you have roughly a quarter carat, and that's very conservative, probably well more than that by way of weight. That'd be $75 just in the sapphires if I had to go get them. So $38 with all that silver, beautiful work, great mounting. That's, again, an opportunity. Someone just has to take advantage of it. Now, I showed some diamond parcels last week, but I didn't show this parcel, 109-4323. 109-4323. These are two different, I have two lots, and they are basically identical. I took a cut from you put them all together and you just take a cut from them. Diamond parcels, look at all of that. So there's 2.5 carats in each parcel. They're basically identical, and they are baguettes and rounds. So we have baguettes and rounds in there. You can see the color. Now that color, you can see what's behind them, and that's why I talked about colors of white and how important it is. A lot of people would say, well, what color is the foam behind them? And the first thing that people would say is white. Well, is it really white? No, it's not really white. I've already showed you what true white looks like, and it is a lot whiter than that foam. You can see the foam from the side, and even with the extra little layer of whiter material, it's still well below white. So the diamonds, figure them, they're not against a white background, they're against a colored background. So the diamonds are actually pretty decent color overall. Some will have some inclusions, some won't, but if you ever have had to replace a baguette, having this range of different shapes and sizes will certainly help in that matter. So you're welcome, whoever gets these, to get both parcels. There's no additional discount for both. That's because I'm starting off at such an inexpensive price to begin with. So let's do this. Let's make each parcel, if they were 2.5 carats, at only $100 a carat, that'd be $250 a carat. I mean, that'd be $250 a parcel at $100 a carat. That is really inexpensive. $177 each. $177 a parcel. And that is especially inexpensive. So, I want to do the math on that. Oh, that's about $70 a carat or so. Wow. I have lost my mind, but take advantage. Okay, next item. Oh, this is cool. Item 1100-823. 1100-823, and this at all. Let's see, 1100-823. Let me look at that closer. Okay, good. All right, let me show everybody what we are discussing here. This is the only time I have ever seen, actually, that I can remember this done. High quality lapis is what you start with, and that's what you have right here. Really the good stuff. Now, let me show you. Look at this. Look at this faceted. I mean, it almost looks like sapphires. It almost looks like light would pass through these stones. These are faceted lapis baguettes. I mean, look at how beautiful those are. Of course, I focus on those, but the big one might interest all of you a little bit more. Look at this cabochon. I'll just do it with my hands. You get to see the size, relative size a little better anyway. Look at that. Now, not much negative you can say about that. That is some really fine, high-grade lapis. And of course, if you're going to use faceted baguettes, then of course you would expect something really nice for the center stone. I took these out of a ring. A ring. It had so much gold that it made the ring really expensive for the stones in it. So I figured it would be a difficult sell. So I scrapped the gold, took the stones out, and then make the stones really inexpensive and very collectible, only because who else would have but maybe me, faceted baguette lapis and a really fine center cabochon gem. Let's make the entire batch, and that stone, yeah, is a 12 by 10, world class quality. And how about this? Let's do the entire lot for $36, and that's discounted from before. So that's a sale price on that. $36. You can hear me rattling on, so I'm changing the labeling and the pricing on it to reflect that discount. And in the world of lapis, just that center stone would be what you would expect to pay a lot, actually more in that kind of quality. To find the faceted baguettes, that would be something that, again, go to somewhere and say, I would want to buy some faceted baguette lapis. And then you get the looks again, the looks that you would be familiar with by now by asking for things that you've seen at Gem Collectors with Shawn at prices that you expect to find everywhere else, and that's just not going to happen. So yeah, like the diamonds at $70 a carat. That is a price that is so below the wholesale market. And we're not supposed to talk about wholesale or anything like that, but that sometimes you can't help but to use that word. And in telling true tales, it's easy to use that word because $70 a carat is the price that there's no way I could ever find those diamonds for anywhere near that in with all the connections I have and in the wholesale market. So, yeah. Take advantage. Take advantage. Now, let me see. Do I have, what's in here? Oh, okay. That's a neat little stone. Yes. My birthstone. Item 1105023. 1105023. Let me show you what that gets you. This is a prize, folks, because it is, and I don't think I've ever showed this before, actually, because I would imagine I wouldn't still have it. This, remember we just talked about the Koch mine andradite garnets? Well, and it is known for the finest iridescent rainbow andradite in the world. look at the size of this crystal. Look at the incredible iridescence to it. And you have to look at this in so many different angles. This actually, look at that. Look at those plays of color. Some of these crystals intergrow. Look at that. And so you have a kind of a cluster. That's what this one actually is. There's a couple of intergrown garnets among each other. And this is big. Large ones like this really are rare. So looking at the weight, 6.77 carat, and that is a large andradite. If you go on the web and try to look up andradite garnet crystals, I saw one, they were about, I think it said they were all like 30 to 40 points, and they were like $75 each. It was like crazy, and they didn't even have any color. They didn't even have any crystal faces that are, of course, desirable. Again, so many different angles. Sometimes you catch the right angle. Look at that. But it's easy. Look at that. I could twist that like that and never see that one face that you just saw that. So you just have to get the crystal and the light at the right angle and to see that incredible iridescence. The big one. Now, this is our American version, Stanley Butte andradite. Okay, so the Stanley Butte in Arizona, well-known deposit. I was so fortunate to get a small parcel of these crystallized gems in crystal form a number of years ago. And since then, I've been selling down some of them, or actually probably too many of them. But look at the color. Look at that base color behind them. Ah, thank you, sir. Look at that. What a beautiful color. Thank you. And clarity. So this is a collection of 2 andradites from 2 different parts of the world. I would say pretty much on the other side of the world. You have the Stanley Butte andradite crystal and the very desirable Coast Mine Japanese iridescent garnet. What a great opportunity in a collection that would be difficult for anyone to put those 2 together. Again, if you go, here's the full information on it right there, and same thing that Mr. Latif has put in the graphics for you. What an addition to a collection that, or gift it to someone, because the 2 of these together, again, to go to a show and make it your goal to get a Stanley Butte andradite and a Coast Mine andradite of this size as you're looking at. And I would challenge you to try to find both of those at a gem and mineral show. Not going to happen. I can already tell you, no chance to be able to put together what I have before you. Both these, I am pricing at well less than what just the Coast Mine andradite would be. Only $88. $88 for the 2. And it's just, again, one of those opportunities that, you know, having done this for as many years as I have, that I have came across the Stanley Butte material and, of course, the Coast Mine material years ago. I had an opportunity to take an entire lot of it, and I did. I bought the entire lot. And didn't sell any of it for a long time. I was a hoarder, I can admit. I was selfish, but I decided to share in several years ago. And as Miss Barber has discovered and found out and realized and mentioned in her comments, just what a deal these have been. So, first come, first serve. That's going to be probably the only opportunity where I put those 2 together like that. And to get them both for only $88, take advantage. Take advantage. Now, let's look at something a little different. Let's look at 1096.023. 1096.023. And we have here an estate piece that is basically looks like it's never been worn. Look at that. Sterling silver. It is, you can see how it's concave or curved, so very comfortable. The flexibility of the bracelet, awesome. You have the safety catch. This is a real desirable look. Still very, very in, and also easy to maintain, easy to clean, easy to polish with just your silver cloth or regular cloth. It is 7.5 inches, so a little bit longer if you need the extra length. And I have this priced, it was already priced really low. I don't know if I showed it, but either way, I'm going to discount it. I'm going to make this only $44. Latif's over there. Oh, I can always count on Latif making me feel like a bad businessman. But he's right. He knows. He knows. He sees, and he comments. I hear him. Item number 1096.123. 1096.123. Let's see what that is. Oh, okay. I like. Here is another style. In case you missed out on that one, take a look at this one. All right, we'll leave that one there for a moment. Wow, look at that. That's beautiful. Look at this. It's flat across the back, and the weight. Okay, so we have 30 grams. So 31 grams is an ounce. And if you say, no, it isn't, 28 is. Well, no, 31. In the metal world, what is known as the troy ounce is what we go by, which is 31.1 grams to a metal weight of troy ounce. And so this other bracelet I'm looking at was 22 grams. So that's what I thought, because see how compact the links are. This bracelet is, 8 grams heavier than this other one, which is wider. But this is a beautiful look. Either one is 7.25 inches. This is Italian made, which really is something. It really does matter when you have something that is Italian made. Now, there's just as good of jewelry made here in the States and whatnot, but Italian gold, there's a premium when you buy it. Italian silver, same thing. You pay more. And there's a reason, because it is well made. It is well made. Gold and silver manufacturing is one of the biggest industries in the world for Italy, in the jewelry world. And they maintain that level of quality, so they maintain that reputation of that. All right, so another really fantastic bracelet at a price, at a discounted price. Let's do this. Let's sell it. Make it $58. Only $58 on that. Okay, let's look at 1088.622. 1088.622. Now, this next item is something that, of course, I don't get a chance to offer ever much of, but with the price of gold, it makes this affordable still. So look at what I have. I don't have a neck to put this on, but you don't need a neck. Here is, I'll just lay it against that for a moment. Look at this. Here is an opportunity at an 18-inch. Now, I just have always called this type link a double link chain. Ah, excellent. The black one. Thank you, Mr. Dave. Perfect. Look at this. Okay, so as we come in close on the chain, the double link chain versus a cable. So what this is 2 links within 2 links. You see that? How they do that? I'm actually, when these break, when I was doing a lot of bench work, I actually achieved the level of skill where I could actually link these back together and solder each individual double link into the place it's supposed to be, so you would not be able to tell if it was broken or if I shortened it. Most of the times you just get one end globbed next to the other, and that's what you get, not the right way. There's the catch, so you can, it's 18 inches, so that's a good length. This is going to be with that double link chain. You know I'm not going to sell you something that's going to fall apart. It's one of the strongest, it is, if not the strongest type of link there is. The only other one I really like is, the cable chain, the single link within a single link. But this is the same thing except 2 links within 2 links. So this will hold something really heavy. They're not going to stretch the links out. It's going to be a way to buy a gold chain at an affordable price that is sturdy. I have this priced even with gold having gone up since then. Let's do this. The math won't work out for me, but that's okay. I'm going to make this only $58. $58 on that. And it gives you an opportunity to have a nice quality chain at an affordable price. And it's gold. 14 karat gold. Can't go wrong with that. Let me tuck that away. Okay, so let's see. Do I have those? Okay, yep, in the right bag. There's your chance. Great deal. Now, let me show you another great deal. Item 1097023. Take a look at this. Okay, if you liked the gem parcels last week, well, look at this. Look at this parcel. Probably don't need to take these out. You can probably pretty much imagine what you see. Look at that big pear shape. Almandine garnets. The thing I like about almandines is I can play with my neodymium magnet with them. This is the iron garnet, and I always love checking to make sure it's the iron garnet by getting out my magnet and picking them up with it. Remember though, if you have an almandine garnet and you have pyrope, a percentage of pyrope garnet mixed with it, because a lot of garnets will intermingle, so to speak. And so you get these hybrids. So the pyrope, a rhodolite garnet is a pyrope and almandine garnet. A certain percentage of each to be a true pyrope, but that's why you get a broad range of colors in pyrope. I like the pyrope with a little bit of the purple tint to it. Originally named, I like the rhodolite garnet with a little bit of purple tint to it. Originally named rhodolite after the color and the rhododendron flowers. And they were actually named after the rhododendrons in the North Carolina mountains where Frederick Kunz made a lot of trips down to the Cowee Valley as vice president of Tiffany & Company. Tiffany & Company took up early on a lot of the nicest rubies coming out of the Cowee Valley. Nothing nice is coming out of the Cowee Valley in the way of rubies in a long, long time. So early on got in on the good stuff. But here's a great parcel. You have the really large, nicely saturated pear shape as well. And the entire lot that you're looking at, I don't know how you wouldn't be tempted to get it just to have them. 6.90 carats. Let's do them for $18. Everything you see, $18. And I was looking at the pricing of some of the almandine garnets from the inexpensive places that you can find them. And almost all of them were in a range of $7 to $8 a carat, something like that. So, yeah, that would make it was like 4 times what I'm asking for. Anyway, a lot more expensive than what those are. Take advantage. Take advantage. All right, let me show you this. 1095123. 1095123. And this, look at this. Now, prehnite, and what a beautiful piece of jewelry it is. Prehnite, really nice quality. This, I don't know, it's probably from Mali, the prehnite, but I couldn't say for certain. There's prehnite of this quality I have sold coming from the Connecticut or New Jersey quarries. You can see nicely stamped, a great weight to it. And a price on this one, ready? I have it discounted, and I'm going to make this only. Let's see who gets this first. This would be what the prehnite would, well, prehnite would be well beyond it. Let's do that for $28, the entire piece, $28. All right, let me tuck that one away and a few other items, and I'll be right back. All right, look at this little jewel. Now, that's a fossil. That is cool. I personally love mussels, and this has, it's old, 100 million years old, and it still looks like one of those lovely mussels that are so delicious to eat. I think they call them the blue lip. I had green lip mussels in New Zealand. Oh, they're huge and amazingly really delicious. Anyway, this one might be a little hard on the teeth, but what it lacks in wonderful flavor, it makes up for. You have to look, because a lot of people wouldn't even notice. And this is where it counts. Look at there's fire in this. Oh yeah, there is fire. Look at that fire right there at the tip, okay? So once you realize that there could be precious material in a piece, then you start looking a little closer. What do you see? Look at the color on this other side, all right? And then it actually, look at right at the end of my finger, you see a band of color coming down. See that? You have to know what you're looking at, coming down from there. So you have a, look at, I can still see it coming down that far. And then look at down here. You have a play of color still all the way down. Look at that wrapping around to that side, but it still is on this other side as well. And then you have some of the fossilized mud that made its way in. Here is a rare both halves of a bivalve mussel with precious opal. This is one of those pieces, like I told you about the big opal that had the prize in the middle. You know, you could polish, since I don't see many growth lines, you know, the lines in a clam or a shell that, well, there is some there. There is some there. Look at the color up there. That if there's, yeah, I see some growth lines. So you wouldn't necessarily always want to polish on the growth lines. They're desirable. But if there's areas on this you want to polish into it and see if you can bring out more color, this would be a good one to do it. Or just a great one for the collection. And look at that color down there. When I first had this, it was a long time before I really looked at it close. And then I realized, wow, this actually has play of color. And it was a really extra treat. A really extra treat. Okay, so it's really cool because, even though the end of this is broken off, it allows you to see the fossilized, the opalized part, and then the mud that filled it and supported it while, look at that play of color, while it went through the process of opalization. Pretty neat, huh? 100-million-year-old piece. That's just magical, just magical. And having that play of color as well. What a great addition, thank you, sir, to someone's collection. And I have this sale priced, believe it or not, and make it only $77. $77. Where are you going to find an opalized shell like that for that small sum? If I could only be on all of your alls and watching this show back in the day, I'd be broke. I'd buy everything that I'd show, or everything I had the money to show. So I have like Vesuvianite with rottingite. 3 crystals, $28. I mean, what all do all of you want to see? I have treasures. Now, I'm going to be bringing in some new treasures, but, okay, here's a great one. Here's a good one. Let's look at this one. 988521. 988521. This, I think, is another one of those opportunities that, let me see. Let's just check this out. Wow. Okay. Look at this. Wow. Look at that. That looks wet. It's not. It is not wet. It has just beautiful, beautiful barite. Wonderful barite. And it's from Morocco. Here's the information if you don't have it there, Mr. Latif. Now, 3 stones. Let me see if I have, we're going to change a little info on that. Let's make that 2 stones. There's only 2 stones to this. We'll leave out the weight because I'm not sure of the weight, but I know it is from the, there we go, you have the info then. But just leave off the weight and just only make it 2 pieces. So, vanadinite is a lead chloride, basically, with vanadium in it. Here's the second piece to the collection. It's not broken off, it's just, it was a couple pieces I had, and this is a chance for someone to get in on. Look at that. Look at the size and the quality of that one crystal. It just really displays wonderfully. Barite is such a heavy mineral, a lot heavier than what you think. Look at the colors to it. Peach, white. Anyway, I am mesmerizing myself. Here is a super discounted opportunity, making them both $18 for the 2. $18 for the 2. And that's well, that one bigger specimen is well beyond that for value. Beautiful look. Beautiful look. All right, now, what is that doing in here? Oh, this is different. Let me get the info out on it. See if that matches up. 104-2021. 104-2021. And I have it in this box, but it's almost too big for it. but I'll try to put it in there for you anyway. Look at this. Look at this guy. Indian, wow, sunstone. Now, not to be confused with Oregon sunstone. The difference, well, it's a big one. Look at that. Remember the man-made, I don't know what they called it. It was made actually with little copper flakes in it, and it looked very much kind of like that, except it looked really fake to me. But they were trying to replicate this natural material. And look at this big bullet cab. Very cool. Look at that. Now, the difference, Oregon sunstone has natural copper in it and is a feldspar. Indian sunstone, the reflections you see is hematite in a silicate material, more of a quartz material. So very different chemically and geologically. But look at the cat's eye still in this. And it, in a lot of different ways, can look similar, very similar to Oregon sunstone. But big difference in price. And I'm going to reflect that by making this very cool piece a really good deal. How about this? $18. Only $18. And the cool pieces like that, they're not as cheap as you would think they would be. I am always surprised. But they often don't cut them in a cool shape like this either, which adds value to it, because it's like, okay, try to find something that looks like that. If you notice, there's actually a silver look to, see that, to one side of it. I think that's an extra value to it. So I put it in there to see if it will work. We'll leave it in there anyway, and you can get a free extra box out of the deal. $18. Let me move some of this aside. Now, there is a wolfenite. Oh, let me show you this. Okay, because I don't want to scrap it. Okay. I have a chain opportunity, and it is item number 1087022. 1087022. Now, this is another chain that I consider a very strong chain, but when this is vermeil, so this is gold over silver. When there is solid gold, the snake chain, as it is known as, it's heavy because of the way it is made. It's not like an open link in the double link or whatnot. So there's a lot of weight to it, which is costs lots more money for that extra weight. Look at this, nicely done. It's a nice strong chain, and no one would know it's not gold. It's got a good catch, as you can see. Look at that, nicely made, Italian made. And I don't even know, let's see, I guess I'll go somewhat by the way. I just make up prices. And I'm laughing at myself, so just ignore me. Not really having any idea, but just winging it. Let's go ahead and make this guy, how about only a whopping amount of money, only $18. $18 on that. And all I know is that is well below what it would cost you in any other environment. And if it was gold, hundreds of dollars for that. Yep. That is the difference. Now, If you have not gotten in on one of my malachite pseudomorphs, you're missing out. And I'm looking here. No one has gotten those golden. Wow. You know what? I guess, I think I was changing my mind about offering any more, but I'm going to offer, I guess, one more. Let's look at item 102 5521. 102 5521. This is where malachite completely eats up the azurite and replaces it, and it is hence called a pseudomorph. In other words, the crystals that you see the malachite in would never form if it was malachite. It only forms that way in that crystal form if the malachite replaces the azurite. Do you have all the info, Latif? Yes? Okay. I want to make sure we get all the info because there's something real important here, and that is where this is from. It is from the Sumed mine in Namibia, and the Sumed mine is one of the world's most famous mines, and it is closed and has been closed. This is from my personal collection. It is a rare specimen, and I think we got everything. If you can just get, yep, the Sumed mine, and the Sumed mine is closed, which is important because there's not going to be any more of these coming out. And if we can go in, are we in as close as we can there? Okay, perfect. All right. As we look at this from an angle that you can actually see, there we go, like this. You can see then the crystalline form of the malachite, which would never form, as you know, in those particular type of crystals. So it replaced azurite, which does form in those crystal forms, even though azurite and malachite are almost identical in their chemical makeup. But that's what allows one to replace the other. And you usually don't see it the other way around because oftentimes malachite doesn't form except in those fibrous type crystals or in a kind of a stalactite formation. Here is a chance to get in. It's on limonite, and then you can explore this for other little copper minerals. Like, look at that. See that other little light color? They're all going to be different names to some of these. It's quite fascinating, the copper world, and all the minerals that have been found in the Sumed mine over its lifetime. Look at that. You can see those angular crystals that are well known in the azurite world, but unknown in the malachite world unless you have a replacement situation, which is what's going on here. So even to have any specimen from the Sumed mine makes it valuable and collectible. To have a pseudomorph from there is additionally special. I am pricing this at a price that would make it, you know, something that you could give a friend as a gift because they're not going to have something like this. Or keep it for yourself because you're not going to have one in your collection. I can already tell you. Only a couple of you will have, and mostly, like as Miss Barbara said, her big collection, most everything she got was from this show. Miss Barbara can shop the world market. She knows the internet in and out, and she knows a lot of people. And she could buy anywhere that she wants. And so when she says that most all of her specimens that she had on her kitchen table that I got to see a great picture of, most of them came from this show. That is a big compliment to me, and I thank her for that support. $44. $44 on that. Again, it's one of those that you don't want to go in to a gem and mineral show and try to find a pseudomorph malachite specimen from the Sumed mine for $44, and that would be a hearty har. that's what I have to say about that. Okay, as the clock is winding down on us, let's show you as many different things as I can, and at the incredible discounts that I have been doing. This next one is going to be one of those. Let's look at 1098 723. 1098 723. And look at this. This is beautiful Baltic amber. Look at that. I'll show it. Look at, isn't that neat to display it against something like that? I love nature's colors. Baltic amber. Baltic amber, of course, this color very classic for Baltic amber. And let's see if it's got any spangles, which, you know, those little reflective discs, always a sign that it's been heat treated. I don't really see any. And there is natural color of amber like this. So, you know, can't say whether these have been treated or not without seeing that classic little reflective pattern. So here is a wonderful sterling silver piece. A lot of weight to it, beautiful classic design, and nice large size bale at a price of, ready, set, I don't know, how low can it go? Well, well, laughing at myself again, sorry. Let's do this, $38. Lateef, I don't want to hear it. $38. That's what I was laughing about. It's like, oh, what is Lateef going to say? Lateef actually facets. He actually knows the time it takes to cut a single stone, faceted or not. So some of these deals like the garnet parcel and stuff, we know how much time it takes to do that. And that's why, thank goodness, there is cutting centers in other countries that will work for less than what you can have something done in this country for. Look at this neat little treasure. I think of this, and then let's see, 109 3623. 109 3623. Think of, I think it's Miss Cindy who was it Miss Cindy that loves her iolite pendant she got that was in the form of a shamrock. Look at this. Here is another cross, a smaller one with iolites, which I love, a little diamond in the middle, 14 karat gold, and with the price the way gold is, I'm probably pricing this less than what the gold would even cost and the stone. So anyway, let's make it only $36. $36. Yeah. Pear-shaped iolites. Look at that. That's pretty neat, classy little piece. A great gift to give, you know, someone having a confirmation. Keep it for yourself. It's small enough to even hang on a charm bracelet. It's just a really neat, classy in its simplicity piece. And let me write that price on here. Yeah, excellent opportunity. Now, let me put that to the side. Let me grab this other basket here. Oh yeah, what have we got here? Wow, these are beautiful. Item 111 2323. 111 2323. You don't have it? 111 2323. No, that means that this has never been shown. Let me give him the information. Here we go. Neon blue Madagascar apatite, 1.12 karat rounds, 2.4 millimeter, 17 stone gem parcel. Now this is a parcel you're not gonna see very often. Look at that. That, I don't use the word neon often because I hear it overused in so many other situations. But this is one time I can really call something neon. I hate to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you. These came out of a cluster, and that's why they are so well matched. Look at the cut. They are simply a beautiful cut. Some are upside down, but that's okay. I think you can get the gist of the look. What would it take to just, the time it would take to cut one stone, I can't even imagine. And they're so well cut, fully faceted, round brilliant, so there's going to be like 57 facets on them. And this is one of those parcels that you may only need 1 or 2 stones every now and again if you're making something, or something just to have because no one else is going to. This parcel, everything you're looking at, $16. $16. There's 17 stones. So that is less than $1 a stone. I can't imagine cutting it for that range, in that range of price. All right, so it looks like our clock is going to run out on us. So let's show you one last item. Maybe I'll sneak in 2 last items. And here we go. This is going to be item 11-0-40-23. 11-0-40-23. And let me show you a chance at something that is getting very difficult to find anymore. And what I mean by that is natural amethyst. GIA has even accepted the fact that they really don't even separate natural amethyst from synthetic. It's kind of weird. I don't understand it. The full their full regulations on that, but in the market, it's so unless you have really specialized equipment, you can't tell the difference. A regular gemologist can't tell between amethyst, whether it's natural or whether it is lab created. That's why I say it's always good to look at your amethyst, and if it has some color zoning in it or has some lines, crystal growth lines in it, or the other things that would tell you it's natural, that's a good thing. It's a good thing to have inclusions in your amethyst if you want to know you're getting the real deal. Look at this. You're getting some beautiful blues in this and some wonderful reflections of color. Natural, 11 by 9, 10.97 karat total weight. And how about this? This, believe me, does not reflect the actual value. So I don't want you to think that you're going to go out and you're going to say, oh, well, that amethyst isn't worth that because of that. No, amethyst is worth. It's just that I have priced these so ridiculously inexpensive. Don't go by my $28 for all 4. $28 for all 4. That does not reflect the real value of those amethysts by any stretch of the imagination. All right, let me see. I was going to show you one more. Wow, no one bought that aqua crystal for that price? Well, I don't know if I'll show you that then. Okay, we'll show you this one. Item 11-0-89-23. 11-0-89-23. We'll close with this item. And this is a beautiful, which of course I love aquamarine. Love aquamarine. And I love crystallized aquamarine even more so. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect, beautiful hexagonal shape. Has all the sides to it and is a wonderful Orongo Namibian specimen. Look at that. It even sits on its own at a wonderfully aesthetic angle, just like I like. And let me just put some backlighting to that. Look at that. Look at that. Do the light thing, Dave, please. Ah, yeah. Boy, that looks just like off the cover of a mineral magazine. Look at that. Oh, by the way, this is one of the ways you can look inside these for anhydrous, water bubbles. They have been found in these specimens. And remember, you have to look in every angle. You have to move them back and forth. You find something that looks like a bubble, like what's at the end of my little finger right there that I see, and then move it around. See if you can get a bubble to move. You know, this would be one worth looking for, such a thing. Because of the course outside, it's difficult to look into it, but you have the clear top. You just move this all around. Who knows what you'll find. Thank you, sir. But first, you have to take advantage of it at the last item pricing of, oh my. Okay. Here's a super sale price. It's 55.75 carat total weight. All right, this will be, don't expect any others at this deal, but I'm going to let this one as a end of the show special for $48. $48, that's the last item of the show. We'll be right back with the trivia. All right, as always, all good things must come to an end. But we're on a roll. Even though we were a day late with the last show, we still got a show to you. And now this one, so let's keep it going. I was not very well in between, but I got it together enough to bring it here. That, you know, that's the difference in passion and when you do something that you love. So for me, sharing my hobby, I would just as soon all of you be sitting out in front of me and me sitting here and, you know, offering an item and first person yells out sold, or some way where it would be even more personal than it is. That's why I guess having a picture of everyone in my mind helps me with that, you know. It makes it more personal for me. All of you get to hear my voice, see me, and see my antics with my hands, which I think I get that from my mom. She was an amazing character and a drama major, yeah, from an all-girls college in St. Louis she graduated from, and I watched her use her drama ability her entire life. I watched her get gas pumped by attendants while we sat in the station wagon long after that was even done. Self-serve came out, but my mom was not a self-serve kind of person. And it wasn't manipulation, it was just the way she would kindly speak to people. And it was just in the way she honored and addressed everybody and respected everybody. And people bent over backwards to help her and to, you know, well, ma'am, let me pump that gas for you, you know. Look, I know you're new to this, let me do it for you. People went out of their way to do for her because she just treated everyone with respect, and she had a sense of flair. She had, you know, it wasn't beauty, it wasn't wealth, it wasn't any of that she had to use. It was just words, kind words, respectful words. Yeah. Yeah. So, great question from our new member of the rock family from the Netherlands. As far as the opals go, I'd never been asked that. And for that opal to come to mind that my mom had bought for me and picked out for me at such a young age, instantly was the first one, and the second one was that amazing find inside that big piece, big knobby of potch. It just goes to show you that there are hidden treasures inside of these things that I've offered. Many times I've said, I often wonder what's just inside of here, and you don't know. You're going to tear a piece, beautiful mineral specimen all the way up, trying to find something better. In opals, I can't tell you, I used to have this one client, and I called him a red chaser. He would just make an opal piece disappear, a piece of rough, chasing after one color bar of red. And that's what I call him, just a red chaser, just anything red, which of course is the rare and valuable and desirable color in opal. And but he would destroy an opal, going after that one little band of red instead of enjoying the piece as a whole and cutting it as a whole. Yeah, it was his choice. I would call him a good opal cutter at the time, if he was not one that destroyed more opals than he ever really finished. Some of his technique was good, but just chasing red, no, it's not worth it. And he was like that. So opal is one of those stones that is truly still a mysterious gem. And so, wonderful question. And I am open to anybody's questions like that. I think that was a really good one. So tell your friend that she hit on he or she hit on a soft spot. When I think about that opal that my mom got me, and then that winning spot where I feel like I got one over on the Australian miners. And after working with them and after seeing how smart they were at judging opal from the exterior, from the outside, it was amazing, except for that one piece they missed. And that one piece paid for, many years later, because like I said, I had that piece of potch, I think, a couple years before I finally did anything with it. And then I had the stone that I cut and showed off for a couple years after that. So it was many years later, but it really, I think, paid for my trip to Australia. Paid for my bucket of opal. So great memories, great question, and welcome to our family. So with that said, everyone, feel free to participate or not in the trivia, and no rewinding. You can take all the notes you want and use your notes. Spelling doesn't matter. I don't grade for spelling, so don't worry about having to look up something so you have it spelled right. I can read between the lines for something misspelled and give the same credit for it. And the whole purpose is to try to cause you to remember what is said. I'm also open to any correction when I am wrong, like Miss Barbara is so good at doing, and I respect that. I actually like that. None of us are perfect, and we can all get things wrong, and there's so much, I can learn from all of you. So, yeah, good show today. Thanks to all of you as well as getting to play with all of my rocks and minerals. Nothing like it. All right, so, ready, set? Question number 1. What name is the standard word for fossilized dinosaur dung? So what name in the mineral trade is the standard word used for talking about fossilized dinosaur dung? It's a universal word for whether it's a turtle dung or T-Rex dung, something bigger. That was question number 1. Question number 2. Name the reflective inclusions in each sunstone Oregon and Indian, respectively. So name the reflective inclusion that is in Oregon sunstone, and then name the reflective inclusion that is in Indian sunstone. And there you go. Good luck, and I'm glad to see we have, I don't know, I'm just glad to see we have such an interactive audience, and Anthony, thanks for your picture, and yep, you're a rocker, I can tell. You got the look. Rock on. And rock on to all of you. God bless, take care, and I'll see you next Monday. Cheers.